Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Heyo.
It's time for Sports and Spaghetti, episode 82. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely whatever day you end up watching it or listening to it. It's exciting times. It's an all New York City episode coming to you from Danbury, Connecticut.
Like mini New York City, I guess.
What?
A mini New York City.
A mini New York City, if I may.
Fraudulent New York
a
City.
a mini Sao Paulo as
A
well.
wannabe New York City.
Yeah, it's a melting pot, and that's why it's a mini New York City. There's everybody. We've got everybody, all shapes and sizes. Yeah, truly. And I think it's an appropriate time to talk all things New York City this episode. All the teams you're going to talk about today are going to be from New York, except for one.
Yeah.
They're playing a team from New York, though. And the food today is from New York. But I got to tell you something that happened in Danbury. I want to ask you guys if you've ever witnessed this. Because today at work, I witnessed something for the first time, and I couldn't wait to share it with you guys. I didn't tell Nick while we were waiting for you to get here, specifically for this moment. Okay? Ready? Mm-hmm. I have fish in my classroom, okay? I have 2 gups, okay? They don't have names yet. This is so stupid. They don't have names, but I have 2 guppies. Today, about 2:10. So we're like knocking on the dismissal door. One of my students goes, "Mr. Walker, there's a baby in there." It's like, what? No, baby. It's a 2.5 gallon tank. Okay? It's barely big enough for 2 fish. So there was a little baby swimming. And then, no sooner did I see one baby, another one surfaced. Another one appeared out of nowhere.
My question, did you remove the babies from the tank?
This is the next part.
Please tell me they're in like a Yeti or something.
Oh, well, actually, they're in another fish.
I was going to say they were going to get eaten.
They ate the fish immediately.
They had a if you will.
Nope, too late.
What's wrong with that? It's true. I didn't say I'm for it or against it. I'm saying the parents of the baby guppy.
They gave birth to the fish and chowed down. They made their own meal.
They do that.
I didn't know that.
It's usually the mother, though. The mother will eat them.
It was the mother.
So fish are pro-choice.
Wait, why are we even talking about this?
I don't know, 'cause that would
I'm
make you
trying
guys
to
uncomfortable.
advocate for you talking more on this podcast, and then you come out with Deshaun Watson and this. Back-to-back weeks.
Bro. Yeah, okay. Nah, I won't even. I'll wait.
You better not say anything about him because we're not talking about him this week.
Okay,
It's not happening.
I'm not saying now since he's already been brought up. It's wrong that they cheered when he got injured.
Yes, it is.
That was proven to not be a real audio sample.
No,
heard
the
it,
real audio was them cheering. It was not the "You Deserve It."
Okay, it was just the cheering.
Yes.
Still bad. Anyway, yeah, I didn't know guppies were cannibalistic. And other fish of that family, cichlids or what?
Cichlids, yes.
Cichlids, yes. We all learned that today as a class. I swear, I didn't know that. I'm not afraid to admit I didn't know it. And it was very fascinating because the mom had the fish. It was like following it. It was like scoping it out. And then suddenly it just chomped it. And the fish's head was like, and then it was gone. It was all gone.
Yep.
And then a few more popped out.
Yep.
And they did the same thing.
I remember when I was a kid, my aunt used to buy fish from Petco, and she would look specifically for like the pregnant ones to obviously get more fish. And I remember driving home, I was holding the bag, and I looked at it. Auntie Dana, I was little. I was like, Auntie Dana, how many fish did you buy? Because it was just one big fish, and then there was like 20 guppies in it just swimming around. So I was like, how many fish did you buy? There were none by the time we got to the house.
There was one fish.
Yeah, back to one. Yeah, we had a whole big tank set up. It was a nightmare actually. There was like they had a sick tank. I swear to God.
Yeah, that doesn't exist in Mr. Walker's room. There's a tank. If the fish get sick and die, that's the end. And then we'll get a new one. I'm not doing this and the fish are thriving.
You just need to name the fish after Islanders goalies. Start at the beginning and just keep going.
Oh, I was going to name one Varley and one Ilya.
I would say, so when Ilya dies, you can go with the next one. And when Varley dies, you can go with...
Oh, boy. We can name him Rick.
Yeah, Ricky. Ricky lives on forever.
Yeah, that one will have a gimpy everything.
It'll get clocked by another fish from another classroom.
Put a beta in there and just go by. A Brent Johnson, if you will. I'll name him Brent. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because I didn't know it, but Anthony knows everything, so of course.
Not everything, but it's fragrant in here. So
It
let's
is
talk
fragrant.
about the fragrance.
And yes, again, in keeping with New York City, Anthony has prepared yet another New York City staple. It really smells like a vendor cart.
It is New York
along
City
the street.
classic in here. I've had this craving for a very long time. I would eat this twice a month, 3 times a month when I worked in Stamford because it's real close to the city. It was very good. And I have, this is not halal because the chicken was not halal. This is halal style. Okay.
It's important to know.
Yes, I'm not claiming this is halal food. So if it's against your religion, please make sure you buy the proper.
Buy the
the
right
proper
chicken.
meat.
It says it on the
Yes.
label.
Inshallah.
Thank you. That's actually the only word that they do to. So, sidebar: how it becomes halal is they need to. This is at least. I'm not claiming to be an expert. This is my old boss who is of Indian descent.
Right, yeah, at the hat
Yes.
store, yeah.
And he claimed that what they do to make it halal is they just play a prayer over a loudspeaker on a loop for 24 hours. So any meat processed is technically blessed. So it's just inshallah, like on a loop for 24 hours above.
How
through
did
the
you know
speakers.
that?
Sham's Arabic. Inshallah.
And so now he can only eat meat that is halal.
I don't know how serious he takes it. I know he doesn't eat pig though. I will tell you that.
Yeah, they can't.
I
afford-
really don't either, but not because I'm religious
Yeah,
about
I
it.
know, I agree.
Well, okay, so you can't eat pork. Is that a sacred animal in religion?
yeah.
I don't know a lot about religions. That's an area that I don't know. Apparently, that and guppies.
Anyway, so I made halal style street cart chicken
It smells so good.
with some homemade turmeric rice as well as
It's turmeric
It is
rice.
turmeric
It's
rice.
not Spanish
It's
rice
not.
or yellow rice.
as well as homemade white sauce and homemade red sauce. So we'll probably end up cutting this out because we forgot cutlery like idiots. So I don't want to have you watch these people eat with their fingers. But dive in, boys. Yeah. So
Anthony, that's really good. What kind of chicken? Thighs?
So it's chicken thighs here. Let's kick into edit mode. So it is chicken thighs. I use the chicken thighs because they're better than breasts and they're cheaper than breasts. But nonetheless, there is the entire spice cabinet in this bad boy. So the marinade is you start with full fat Greek yogurt. And you can marinate it. You should marinate it overnight. I only did it for about an hour or so just because I was running a little low on time. But for the chicken, I did Greek yogurt. We're going to start it in a Greek yogurt. I just put it in a Ziploc bag. We're going to marinate it with minced garlic. We all know that I do not like to mince my garlic. I like to grate my garlic. Huge hack there.
He's an anti-mincer.
So about 4 cloves of grated garlic, fresh lemon juice from a full lemon. You have to do some olive oil, and then for your spices, this is where it gets saucy here. So we did all of these are about a tablespoon. So it's about a tablespoon of fresh oregano, a half a tablespoon of ground coriander. I did some salt. I did some pepper. I did some cumin. I did some turmeric in the chicken. And then I did what you're tasting. This is the flavor. It is Baharat or 7 spice mix. Now what that is a blend of coriander, allspice, cumin, cloves, black pepper, cinnamon, and nutmeg. So I let all that marinate together, and then I threw it on the grill, ripping hot, as hot as I can get it. Got a nice little char. That's it.
Yeah, have you ever watched the Great British Baking Show?
I haven't.
That's like top marks on that show is when Paul Hollywood shakes their hand.
It's that good.
It's just right on the money. It's, you know why? You know why I love it? Because if you get it at a place on the street side near Yankee Stadium, near 161st and the vicinity, it's going to come in something like that. It's not going to be fancy. It's going to be plastic fork in like a
Usually
boat.
a metal. It's usually like a metal tin.
Well, yeah.
Aluminum one.
Or if you're just walking with it, they put it in a little boat.
Yeah.
You know, a little chip boat.
So I usually...
This is exactly what I would want it to be. It's so easy. I don't like complicated food dishes. I like it when there's only a few ingredients. And it's chicken and rice. I know there's sauce, but it's a chicken and rice. You can't mess it up.
No, it was, I mean, this was super simple. Like I said, I threw it together right when I got home from work.
I want to put a compilation together of you saying that. This
simple?
was super simple. I think you say that every time you make
true.
something.
That is true.
We'll have to go back and check.
Or he
All
says
right.
like, "Oh, this is super easy to make."
For our 100th episode spectacular next year, we're gonna find all of our little isms.
We're going to compile all of my super easies.
Yeah.
This is super easy.
It'll be a doozy to edit. But
So, again, I don't like cooking things that are very complicated. When I do cook things that are very complicated, you will see because they will be recorded, a la Friendsgiving, which you're invited to this year.
Thank you.
and you also, and we all also don't have time in our busy lives to make elaborate dinners. I probably make an elaborate dinner once a week.
So, I mean, in this case, right, like I said, you should be marinating this for about a day in advance. So if you throw it together right before you go to bed, put it in like a metal bowl or a Ziploc
This is
bag.
the chicken marinade,
Yes.
right?
Throw it in a metal bowl, Ziploc bag, and then throw it in the stove, or throw it in the stove. Throw it in the fridge overnight. Cool. You should make the sauce beforehand, which I'll talk about the white sauce and the red sauce. That's all homemade as well. You can make those overnight, keep them in little
So
condiment
good.
bottles like I have, and then the rice really takes about 20 minutes.
It's really good.
So-
it's so full.
So all in all, if you were to make this dish start to finish on a day when you get home from work, it should take about 20 minutes. You make the rice while you're making the rice.
rice is
throw the
good.
throw the chicken on the grill, throw it in a cast iron skillet, and you're done. That's it. 20 minutes.
It's such tender rice. You got it right. What did you think, Nick?
Oh, it was solid. It's kind of what I expected, like from the smell. I like when food smells match the taste.
I agree with that.
It really throws me off when it doesn't.
Coffee's like the number one offender of that.
Exactly.
The smell and
Coffee
the taste
smells
are not
so
the same.
good to me, but the taste is god awful. IMO. Anyways, it was really good. I'll give it a 7.
It's good stuff, Anthony. All right, quickly talk about the sauce because this is good, but the sauce really elevates it.
So traditionally, your streetcar will serve it with lettuce and tomato, and I didn't really want to waste the lettuce and tomato, so I didn't do it.
Within it?
It'll be put on, yeah. And then
Okay, I would
what,
like that.
What a lot of people will do, I know Demersky does this, is he'll load it up with white sauce and red sauce and shake it and like mix it up. It's pretty good. White sauce is very easy. It is half a cup of mayo or a quarter cup of mayo, depending on what you're using. You can do Greek yogurt and then add sour cream. I didn't add sour cream because Chris does not like sour cream. So I just did
This is why we're together.
I just did mayo and Greek yogurt. I grated some garlic in there, a little salt, a little pepper, and some lemon juice, and that's it. And then once you mix it up, you want to get your consistency. Just add a little water to break it down. That's fine.
Can you believe how well he knows me?
I'm not surprised.
And then how you make the red sauce. This is a chili-based sauce. It's a spicy sauce. You take the white sauce that you just made, and you pour in your favorite chili hot sauce. So it could be sriracha. It could be anything else. I have homemade chili hot sauce that I just put in there. That's it.
Homemade chili hot sauce.
My dad made it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You know, it's a spice that it lingers. but it's only on your tongue and mouth. It's not like burning your throat because it's just those rich, full, real spices as opposed to just the capsicum in hot peppers. It's that warm spice. It's very spiceful.
And then
Very
rice.
good.
Rice is very, very easy. I was always afraid of rice. If you're afraid of rice in a pan,
A lot of people
or a
are
pot,
afraid.
It's very. All you do for this is you can use ghee, which is clarified butter. It's used in Middle Eastern cooking.
You can make your own. It's really easy.
You can. It's also very expensive at the store. Little tiny ones like $10. So I just went with butter. So you do about a 2.5 cups of butter, and you're going to melt that down. Once you melt it down, you put the rice in the butter, and you're going to toast it for a little bit, about a minute to 2 minutes. While it's done, when it's done toasting, 3 bay leaves. Pop those bad boys in there. You're going to take, I think it was a half a teaspoon of turmeric. You're going to put that in there, mix it all up, get that color nice. And then you're going to do for 2 cups of rice, I did 3.5 cups of vegetable stock. And then once it comes to a boil, throw a cover on it. Well, you're going to stir the whole time while it's coming to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, throw the lid on top of it, turn the heat down, simmer it for 20 minutes, fluff with a fork, done.
It makes such a difference when you don't use water. It really does. That vegetable stock brings it to life. The clarified butter is fun to make. I've made it a couple of times. You don't get a lot out of it, and all it is it's the milk solids. You take them out. So you melt it over like super low heat. And as the butter's melting, it separates into yellow and white. And you got to spoon out all of the milk fat. You spoon it out, and then it's clarified butter. And it's like way healthier. It's really clean. It's like a good cooking base. Like it's better to cook with than butter because it burns cleaner. It doesn't have different smoke points because the milk solids have a lower smoke point than the rest of the butter. Anyway, well done, sir.
Very easy. Again, if you're not in a city that has good halal food and you would like to try some Halal Cart style chicken, very simple.
Super easy.
Super easy.
Simple.
Super simple. All in all, if you want to do it all from start to finish, it's 2 hours from the time you start marinating to the time you're eating it. And it's the most authentic one that I've had so far.
Beautiful, sir.
Close to
Great
in
work.
Stanford.
Great work.
Or the city.
Great job, Anthony. Really, really great. Speaking of great, I'm going to take this one for you. I've got something great to talk about in the beginning of no particular order this week, which is coming up. Ready for this? On its 9th anniversary. Okay. Sometime around January 2015, this segment started. And excuse me, it's coming up in its 10th anniversary. It's already been 9 years since this debuted. It's going to be 10 years of my life I've been calling something in no particular order. How ridiculous is that?
That's crazy.
I've had this silly segment. It's like a part of my life. Something great happened on Saturday. No, it wasn't the wedding I went to. That was a very beautiful wedding, though. Shout out to Andy and Matt, who got married. One of the loveliest weddings I've ever been to in my life. Shout out to my mom, who took the kids for not the first time, but she took the kids for an extended time for the first time, and they did great. She did great with them. Fabulous work. Yes, Nick.
I helped to a great extent.
Good. But it does take a village. It does. But
No, I mean she carried the workload, but I helped.
I know, but she did a great job. I want to shout her out.
No,
Shout out to my mom.
I had the secret sauce.
I heard he was playing EDM, and every time he turned it off, Hardin looked up at him like, "What are you doing? Turn it back on."
He's my little
that's
raver.
pretty dope.
He's my little raver.
I like the rave music. And so Nick was, great job. But while that was going on, Anthony was calling play-by-play for the WestCon's monster win. Monster win. It's just, it wasn't a good game.
We got to 2 third-string quarterbacks again. And guess what? The team that WestCon just beat 49-7, they're playing. That was Bridgewater State.
Yes.
We play Worcester State next week. Well, the 3 of us will be on the call again.
Is it not this week?
It's this Saturday, yes.
We'll be back, all
we'll
3
be
of
back.
us.
Bridgewater, whom WestCon beat 49-7, beat Worcester by like 4 touchdowns.
Oh God.
It's gonna be another barn burner, fellas.
We might hit 100.
We might. Can't, but I know the team isn't thinking that. But Anthony, I wanted to say he did an excellent job.
So Anthony was the great.
Anthony was the honorable mention good.
I have an honorable mention bad.
He's the honorable mention. It doesn't top my bad. I guarantee you it doesn't top my bad. It couldn't top my bad if it tried. But Anthony,
I'll do my bad before you.
But Anthony did a great job. The reason why he did a great job is because the first 5 minutes of the broadcast, we're sitting in Melissa's car. She had to pump. We were sitting there having hors d'oeuvres, okay, in her car. Is that not the most Melissa
awesome.
thing ever? We were just completely quiet, just chit chatting, and I was like, "Oh, Anthony's on." I turned it on. You were bang, starting right off, 11 minutes before kickoff. In the first 5 minutes, I was literally like, Melissa, I was like, "They don't need me." It's like I'm done. I'm done.
Until I got the radio tag wrong.
And then he said 97 points.
I practiced in the car the whole
Oh,
ride
I was like, oh no.
to make sure I was saying W, not W.
Yeah. Melissa looked at me and she was like, I was like, oh.
I practiced the whole time. I wish you could have seen my face. Jules literally behind me. I saw her arms go. She went. I was like, no, and she was like 91.
Hey, you know what? And then I sent a text. And I didn't want to text you too much, but I was like, "It's WXCI Danbury! It's WXCI Danbury!" Because they always used to yell at me there if I didn't say Danbury right after WXCI. It's not WXCI 91.7 Danbury
It's
because
WXCI
Stephen Kyle
Danbury.
always got it wrong. Shout out Stephen Kyle. I love you guys.
Steve's doing big things in Ohio. Kyle's doing big things in New York. Love him.
We're all doing sports talk still. We're all
Who
doing
would've thought?
sports. I know. All these years later. But excellent job, Anthony. It's not easy in the fourth quarter of a blowout in college football. But excellent job, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. The real good this week is so self-righteous, I don't care. It's Dave Matthews Band for getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
So is that why I've heard ants marching on every sports broadcast for the last week?
You bet it
Is
is.
that why I keep getting this ad to watch the induction?
You bet it is because of DMB. They were inducted on Saturday. Congratulations to my favorite band. They got in with such acts as Foreigner.
I did see that.
MC5, Cool in the Gang, Peter Frampton,
The Tribe of something.
The Tribe,
Tribe called
Tribe called Quest,
I don't know. I saw the ad on YouTube and I just
Mary J.
away.
Blige, like all of these Ozzy Osbourne. How could I forget? All of these legendary acts.
Dua Lipa will be performing.
Yes, she will.
That's all I care about.
Where?
At the induction.
It happened.
Oh, she performed.
Yeah.
No one cared.
Demi
That's all I care
Lovato ruined the Foreigner song.
Not a one person cared about Dem, and not one cared about Dua.
Oh.
No, and honestly, the biggest crowd was there for DMB. Julia Roberts inducted them. She was in a music video for one of their songs called Dream Girl, and it came kind of full circle. She's a huge fan.
How do they fit under rock and roll?
How does Mary
was
J.
just gonna say,
Blige
how does
fit
Mary
under
J.
rock
Blige?
and
I'm
roll?
not talking about
How does A Tribe Called Quest fit under rock
don't
and
even
roll?
know what they do.
Don't even talk to me about it. They deserve it.
just asking.
They are legendary in the same respect as Foreigner and all these other bands. They have earned their place among the ranks. So nobody can talk about them as this band that no one cares about because they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're the only band in history to have 7 consecutive albums debut at number 1. The only band in history.
Very well.
Anyway,
And their fans travel really well, so a lot of their shows are packed.
they're all packed. Shout out to DMB. I don't talk about the band a lot because it's not a music podcast, but it's my segment. All right. The end this week is that the cheapest ticket, and it's because it's not bad per se. It's bad in that I'll never be there, but it's not bad for the sport. The cheapest ticket to Game 1 of the World Series is $1,435.
And now notice he didn't say seat because it's a standing room only ticket.
And it's right field foul pole upper deck, standing room only. $1,435. That doesn't include the airfare to Dodger Stadium. That is a mega And on one hand, you think, well, if that's the cheapest ticket and that place is going to be packed, it's the World Series. The two biggest named teams, arguably, in baseball, I think they are. Are they not?
No, definitely.
They're the two biggest markets in baseball. This is like the mecca of baseball right now, these two stadiums. And the team, they're the two best teams.
It's the first time since the 70s. It's the team with the most wins in the American League playing the team with the most wins in the National
The home run king in each league. But the
MVP in each league.
Right. And so, but it's also crappy because none of us are going near that place. That's more than my rent per ticket. That's absurd. And my rent's very low. But still, that's incredible. I'd have to save money for 2 years to buy a ticket to that game.
The seats that we sat at for with Beautiful with 2 L's, those are going for, I think the last time I checked, the same area was like $13,000 a ticket.
For the Legends Club?
Yeah.
$13,000 per ticket? Man, oh man. That's incredible. But yeah, that's the Go ahead, do your honorable bad quick.
Okay, so my honorable bad, since I'm the one editing, I will edit these clips in. My honorable bad is how the media has been so against the New York Yankees, and you can tell it just by the way they're calling things. It's insane, these broadcast crews.
It's true.
I don't want to sound like a Yankee homer where it's like, oh, everybody's against the Yankees.
There is no other choice for the bad. That is not even half bad compared to this garbage team. I'm talking about the New York Islanders.
And we've started.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm talking about the New York Islanders. Here we go. Now, the reason why they're the bad this week is because they've been shut out for 3 games out of 6. 3 shutout losses. Making it worse is that 2 of them were 1-0. They couldn't even score a goal. And they gave up 1. Ilya Sorokin has played 3 games. Has given up 4 total goals. And is 1-1-1. He's lost 2 of the games he's played. And he's given up 1 goal in both of the losses. One of them was in overtime, and one of them was in a 10 shot effort by the Detroit Red Wings last night. The fewest shots on goal in a win in Red Wings history. 10. I'm not saying he should have stopped the goal. It was a gorgeous play. Patrick Kane scored the goal for the Red Wings. Beautiful play in the first period. Pretty harmless. Anders Lee missed his assignment. No big deal. It was 1 goal. They played an excellent defensive game, but they can't score. And then Utah, they played in game 1. They had 2 third-period leads, and they couldn't play defense. They can't defend when they score, and they can't score when they defend. They can't play a full game. They cannot play a full game. They're 2-2-2 already. It's going to be that kind of year again. It's already going to be that kind of year. They may win 5 in a row. They're going to lose 6 after that. They may win 10. They're going to lose 11. It's not going to matter. They're going to be right down the middle. 2-4 to start the season.
So I want to implement a new weekly thing that we're going to do, and we're going to check Chris's heartburn level on the Islanders. So on a scale of 1 pepper to 5 peppers, how spicy is the heartburn?
It's a 5 right now. And I'll tell you why. I watched that game last night against the Red Wings, and there was just no emotion. The team didn't play with any emotion, so guess who didn't show any emotion? Me. I didn't show any. I just looked at Melissa as the buzzer went off, and they had been shut out for the 3rd time in 6 games. And I said, "There's no heart on this team."
Yo, what's league history on fewest shots to win a game?
No, probably less. It's just a mess. It's just a messy thing. And if I were Ilya Sorokin, I would demand a trade, because to play 3 games and give up 4 goals and lose 2 of the 3, you've got to be out of your mind, out of control how bad this team is. There's no discipline. There's no drive. The team had 29 shots on goal. Nick, I promise you, we would. If I played goalie for the Red Wings last night, we probably would have only lost 4-1 as the Red Wings.
So
I probably would have given up 4 goals, because I'm not an NHL goalie or anything close to it. But most of the shots, they had the miles per hour on every shot. They were like 50, 60 mile-an-hour shots. That's a men's league shot.
So the fewest shots in a win, Toronto at St. Louis on March 4th, 1999. The Maple Leafs took 9 shots. They scored 4 goals.
So this wasn't far off.
Yeah, I know. You were not far.
Anyway, that's the
This is
bad.
actually the 2nd time the Islanders have lost on just 10 shots. They lost to the Sabres in 2015. The Sabres beat them 3-2. They shot 10 times. Oh no, I'm sorry. They won that. They won that game.
It's pretty bad.
That is pretty bad.
Let's talk about a good New York team really quick. The New York Rangers, as we move to the NHL. I have one story for the NHL, and it's the New York Rangers. So they are definitely storming the ship, and we do mean boat, to start the season. They've, if I'm not mistaken, check me, they've only lost to Utah so far this season.
I did lose to Utah.
I know. Hockey club fan. Okay? They should be like 4-0-1.
Rangers are 5-0-1.
5-0-1. Okay, they've only lost to
And
Utah.
it was an overtime loss. So they
Yes,
got a point.
it was an overtime loss during Utah's northeastern trip in the beginning of the season, where they also beat the Islanders. So, a big reason why they're winning, and they're undefeated pretty much, is Igor Shesterkin. Okay? So, my question to both of you is, should Shesterkin get the contract that he wants? And by contract he wants, I have a figure for you. Because earlier in the season, he turned down a contract. Do you want to hear what the contract was, Nick? The contract was 8 years, $88 million. That is an $11 million per year contract, which would make him the highest paid goalie by far. That would be the biggest goalie, biggest per year value of any goaltender contract in history. And he rejected that contract offer. So he wants $12 million a year.
That's insane. I think the NHL's salary cap is growing. I think COVID. I was watching a video of the same TikTok guy Nick sent me. We'll give him a shout out. I don't know his name. We'll put it on the screen, or maybe, I don't know. Anyway,
He's editing it. I don't care.
yeah, he's real cool. But I don't remember where I was going with that.
The contract.
Contract, yeah. Oh, salary cap. Yes, COVID hit the NHL very hard. So I guess there's this whole backlog of players put a certain percent of their salary into a oh god, this is bad. Into escrow. They put a certain amount of their salary into escrow, just in case the league has an issue and they can't make their whatever. And at the end of the year, they pay it back. So pretty much 20% or so of their salary the COVID year went into escrow. The league couldn't pay it back because there were no fans in the seats, which that's where the NHL makes the most of their money. So the players were out that money. They have finally paid the players off, so now the NHL salary cap will be going up, which means they can pay the players more, which also means you might see ticket prices increasing. That's what I was getting to.
Yep.
But I think he is absolutely worth it
Agreed.
because that guy is winning games by himself.
Agreed. He deserves it.
I completely agree with you too. What I've seen a lot of is that he shouldn't get it, and that him turning down $11 million per year is being really selfish.
It is. Two things can be true, though.
Absolutely, two things can be true. If I'm
I
him,
think he has every right to be selfish. He is the best goalie in the NHL, and as the best goalie in the NHL, he should get paid the most.
I agree.
you know, if I was ever in this situation where I was an elite athlete and we were having contract arguments, I feel like I might shoot myself in the foot just because of. I mean, I would pull the Le'Veon Bell. I would go, you don't want to pay me what I'm worth? Win without me. Granted, they won without him, and now that reset the whole running back market. But if Shesterkin looks at the Rangers front office and says, "Okay, go win with Quick in the goal, 43-year-old Jonathan Quick or however old he is, go win with him playing every game. Let's see how that works.
Right.
Call somebody up from Hartford. Let's see how that. It's not. They're not going to be winning the President's Cup, President's Trophy.
No,
President's
they're not
Cup is
going to.
AHL. I figured that out. They're not going to be winning the President's Trophy. Sorry.
You're absolutely right about it. And again, his number and Quick. We're not. No disrespect to Quick, who's a proven winner.
Of course.
He's won multiple cups.
He's not a 1A anymore.
No, and he knows that. And there's no way. I mean, if Shesterkin were to get injured, he could step in and start. He could start 40 games still, but the guy's not going to start 63 games this season. I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you guys. A lot of people are saying no. I say pay the man. Pay him what he wants, because once he signs that contract for 12 or whatever they decide on, that sets the bar. And all the other goalies are going to be rated against that bar. Okay, well, are you putting up Shesterkin numbers? Are you as valuable to the team as him? No? Well, then you're not going to make that much. And I think that's what he wants.
Yeah.
And his team, he has a very strong agent, very strong team of agents behind him that know what they're doing, because, again, they have other clients, too, to think about, that they want to get paid more money. And, I don't know, let's say you've got a guy like Gustafsson, whose contract will come due.
Playing out of his mind at the moment.
Absolutely. That's why I use him. And he says, all right, well, I had as good a season as Shesterkin. I was considered for a Vezina this year. I want $10 million. I want $12 million too. No. Have you proven that yet? Or one season? So that's going to be the new bar.
So my
And he
thing
knows
right,
it.
is I think the NHL, obviously the goalie is most important. We've talked about this to a certain extent. There could be a good system, whereas the goalie is not as important, i.e. the Stanley Cup winning Avalanche. But in general, I think the goalie is the most important position on the ice. It's like your quarterback. There's a reason why the quarterbacks get paid the most, and there's a reason why the quarterbacks that are winning, two things can be true at once. There's a reason that quarterbacks that are winning don't take the most money. There's a reason that Sid Crosby had the same salary for the last 15 seasons. Yeah.
Too. Sports Ball, by the way.
Sports Ball.
Shout out Sports
Yes.
Ball. on TikTok.
Awesome. But there's a reason why the Penguins are in on every big player. Oh my God, how can they afford this? They have Sid. Oh, Sid's only making $15 million. Sid's only making $8 million, whatever it is. There's a
I
reason.
think his contract has him making $2 million the next couple of seasons.
It might, whatever it is.
So that they can afford
But that's
pieces.
the thing is, you look at Mahomes, you look at Brady. They took pay cuts their entire career so they can be surrounded with talent.
You're absolutely right about
And
it.
what that does too, and this was on Julian Edelman's podcast, so I don't want to completely rip that off, but I do want to touch on it.
He gave credit.
So when they're looking at contract, negotiations, it's very similar to what Chris was saying. So it's going to keep your payroll down, because you're going to get a player that comes to the Rangers and they're going to think that they're important. We'll use Alexi Lafreniere. His contract's coming up soon. He's going to say, "Hey, I want this amount of money," and they're going to go, "Wait. You want this amount, and Igor's only making 12? No. You can get 7, whatever the number. I'm just making the numbers up.
Yep.
You can get 7, or you can hit the bricks.
bounce. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Thank you for that. So we've been talking a little bit of football, and again, we're doing an all New York show today. We're not going to talk about the Panthers today. There's nothing to talk about there. Sorry. Let's talk about the Jets for a minute because, well, there's really nothing to talk about there except it's a shambles. And I was talking to one of the teachers that I work with, who's a big sports fan, lover of all sports, and we were talking about the Jets yesterday at PD. And one of the things that he was saying was that they're so dysfunctional of a team right now that it doesn't matter who Rodgers brings in. It doesn't matter what name he brings in. He could bring in Jettis. He could bring in any of these top receivers, top running back, whoever he wants to bring into that team. And they're still the Jets. It's kind of like hearkening back to what we were saying. It's always the Mets kind of thing. It's always the Jets.
I don't know if
they
I said
always suck.
If I said that to you guys or my friends, but I literally said word for word. We could bring in Mahomes, Justin Jefferson, the whole all-star team. But if it's the Jets jerseys they're wearing and the coaching and the owners, it's not going to work.
They are so mismanaged on all levels. They are the most dysfunctional team in football, and it's criminal that they're 2-5.
The problem with the Jets right now is they are allowing Aaron Rodgers to play quarterback and general manager. This is a 40, 41, 42, however old he is, year-old quarterback that is bringing he's bringing his friends in. I'm half shocked we haven't seen Jermichael Finley and Jordy Nelson get signed. Like it's bad. Like I'm honestly I'm waiting for the David Bakhtiari announcement to drop. It's coming. I'm waiting for it. But the problem is they're letting him run the organization, and they're just doing things that don't make sense for the organization, but it makes sense for Rodgers. There's no reason you had to bring in Devontae Adams because you already have an elite wide receiver in I'm blanking on his name right now. Garrett Wilson, thank you. You don't need to bring in Devontae. What you really need to do is bring in a guard or bring in a better offensive lineman.
Please get us an offensive lineman.
Well,
Please.
it's like the first thing my buddy posted about Devontae, and he's like,
Pause.
Oh my God. Right there.
Let me stop it.
Is that the new one?
No, it's the usual one. It's just being a pest. It's just being a pest. It's still playing, but I can't stop it. I don't know what's wrong.
Can't stop the beat. The motion of the ocean. Dude, how about Minnesota? They have not trailed for 1 second of a game.
That's pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, that is wild.
And they now have Gus has the highest save percentage in the NHL.
There we go. Oh, we're back.
We're back. Okay. Whatever I was saying. I had a buddy of mine post that it was like, oh, I'm excited that they brought in Devontae. And the first I commented, I was like, can he block? Because that's the problem. It's not Rodgers. It's not Brees. It's not, it's like.
I mean, Alan Lazard has looked good this season.
Alan Lazard has been wide receiver one. It's the same. It's the same thing with the Chiefs and Juju. It's like Juju goes, it's because there's a comfortability. So obviously it means something. But dude, Rodgers is 40. He is the only. I think I was reading something when they were playing the Bills. He's the only quarterback or the only player that doesn't tape his ankles because he never taped his ankles. So like the dude's driving off the ground and like getting rolled up, and it's like he's always hurt. He's saying he's like, my body's not bouncing back like it did when I was in my 20s. It's like, dude, you're aging. You should be behind the best offensive line ever assembled, so they can let you cook, but instead
You're behind the worst.
You're behind one of the worst I've seen in a very Tyron Smith looks horrendous.
Yeah.
And
All
it's
of it.
I mean there's problem upon problem with these Jets, but that they're not the worst team in New York. They're not.
It is true.
They're not the worst team in New York.
No, that's the New York Giants.
Dexter Lawrence leads the NFL in sacks. He is the only, and Malik Neighbors is filthy, but they are the only bright spot in that team. Daniel Jones is getting paid more money than I could ever imagine to see or think of in my lifetime. And he has not thrown a touchdown pass at MetLife Stadium in almost 2 calendar years. He has thrown more thrown more touchdowns to the opposite team than his own team in the last, I think it's like 12 games.
Oh my.
He has been benched for Drew Lock.
That's a low point.
Listen, I love Drew Lock. Did I ever tell you my Drew Lock story? So I went to the draft in Nashville. We went to a Chili's on Broadway, Jules and I. And we're sitting there and we're talking about the players getting drafted. This is a 2019 draft. Drew Lock was projected to go first round. He went to Denver. I don't remember if it was first or second round. But his nickname is Horse, something that rhymes with lock. So, Horse Lock. I did not realize what his parents looked like. So they were talking about, like, in this Chili's, they're like, oh, who's your quarterback in this draft? Who's your favorite? I was like, yo, I like Horse Lock. And they were like, that's our son. What are you talking about, Horse Lock? And I'm like, that's his nickname. You didn't see the video? They're like, nope.
Oh, no.
So they now know. So shout out
Because
to
of you.
Shout out to Drew Lock and Drew Lock's parents.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Fantastic. That is just lovely.
That's a great story, Anthony.
It
I'm so
is.
happy you shared it.
Thank you.
All right, listen.
I was wondering what the emojis meant.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I got it.
Anytime I send that, you'll know now.
Oh, yes.
Unfortunately.
I'll send it a lot.
Okay. All right. Very good, Anthony. Oh. All right, let's talk about baseball before we get on out of here today, shall we? I think that we need to talk about the Yankees and the Dodgers because they're the only two teams left.
What about the Mets, though?
The Mets had a great season.
Now that everything's over, the Mets did have a very good season.
Thank you, Anthony.
Oh, boy.
Again, the thoughts are pouring in from people who said, "Wow, they really did blow everybody out of the water." That said they couldn't do anything, and I haven't talked to one Mets fan that's upset. A lot of Mets fans are like, "I can't believe it's over," because
Yeah.
I didn't think it was ever going to end. But like, it was a great season for them. Great, it's something to build off of, and it would be so Mets of them to just suck again next year. That's the unfortunate thing, and that's why people are surprised by them every
It's like
year.
they're most likely gonna lose Alonso. I don't see him staying.
No, there's no way he stays.
Their pitchers are not great, and it's like they just have Senga, and it's
Kind of a Cinderella run. That's why people were saying it. They didn't have a lot of pitching, especially. All right, but anyway, on to things that matter currently, and that's the Yankees and the Dodgers. So why don't we start with the Yanks? I don't know if there's a real underdog in this series. I don't think you could consider either team an underdog because, again, they were the two best teams. If I were going to bet on it, I think the odds are for the Dodgers slightly.
Yeah, the Dodgers are a little bit of a favorite.
Really?
Just because of Ohtani, just
Yeah,
because of the glazing of Ohtani. And that's the one reason. Bro hasn't hit a home run since the NLDS. Okay? But anyway, the Yankees, for me, the key to the Yankees is Garrett Cole. Hear me out. Okay? He is the ticket for the Yankees to win the World Series or lose the World Series. It will go because of him. How? Well, he's starting game 1. We already know this on Friday. Okay? Rest in peace to Grammy. That's her day. Friday. It was also a Friday that year, 5 years ago. He will pitch game 1. He's going to pitch game 4. He's going to pitch on 3 days rest. If it's a World Series, and which it is, he's going to pitch on 3 days rest. That's just the way it is. And he's going to pitch game 7. He's going to pitch part of game 7. He's going to come in. I think if the Yankees are going to win the series, it's probably going to go 7 games. It's just what I think. He's probably going to be pitching in relief in a game 7. This guy has to give up 3 runs or fewer in the series. And this is why he is the key to the winning or losing. I'm not worried about them getting hits. I don't think the Dodgers pitching is that great. Their bats are impressive, but their pitching is not that great. that Garrett Cole has to shut them down. If he doesn't shut them down, he's going to pitch in 3 games a series. If he doesn't shut them down, they're not winning. They're not winning. And that's why he's my key.
So my key for the Yankees is surprisingly Aaron Boone. I think Booney cannot get outmanaged in this series. I think the talent is very similar. Judge to Ohtani, you have Stanton and Betts. You have, you have Soto and Freeman. So it's like there's the superstars are there. Booney cannot get outmanaged. He cannot make a mistake. Like the whole I was shaking of how afraid I was when Mark Leiter Jr. was in that game.
Yeah.
I'm like, why, like, use Strom, like, use somebody, but, like, this guy wasn't on the roster yesterday, and it worked out. A lot of the pinch running decisions, who he's going to start when it comes to, first base. Waldo looked really good there. Birdie looked good there. Rizzo's hitting the ball, but his defense is so it's like he cannot get outmanaged by Dave Roberts.
And Dave Roberts is an excellent manager.
Like Boone had, I saw it this morning or this afternoon. They were talking about if the Yankees win the World Series, obviously Cashman and Boone are going to get extensions. They have to. Boone has to earn his extension. Absolutely,
he still hasn't earned the extension. I agree with you. I love that take. And he's been always prone to bad managing decisions.
And it's 1 or 2 decisions, and it usually, it kills the whole vibe of the team. Look at who was hitting. Wells was hitting 4. That was another good decision. He pulls Wells, Trevino plays, and Cleveland runs all over Trevi. Could not control the base path, so he's like, yeah, you're not hitting, but you're controlling the game. You're great behind the plate. You're back in. You're hitting 9. So it's like that is huge. Everybody wanted to crucify him over putting Verdugo over Dominguez, and it looks like it's paying off.
Earlier in the season, people were ready to sell Glaber.
Yeah,
and he benched him. He finally manned up and benched him, and ever since then,
he was my grinder. Yeah.
He's been one of the best players on the team.
The guy's hitting leadoff. He was on base in the first inning every single game of the playoffs so far. Every game.
That is huge. And so I like it. All right, Nick.
Mine
key
is
for the Yanks.
Yes, Stanton is mine. I think when a player on your team is so hot, you put a lot of belief and reliance on them. And if he poops the bed here in the World Series, it will really put a blemish on his postseason, I think.
Yeah, he's already up with the records in home runs in the playoffs, and he's had 4 in the ALCS.
Can't do it on the biggest stage.
Yeah, the scapegoat of all the broadcasters, like we've talked about. It's just amazing how much they talk about him.
So the one thing I do like the Stanton pick. I'm ready for him to feast in game 1, 2, and 5 and 6, or game 1, 2, and 6 and 7 if need be. In 25 career games at Dodger Stadium, Stanton is hitting .309, 9 doubles, 10 home runs, 26 RBIs, and he's slugging .723 OPS of 1.086. He absolutely destroys the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium.
And that's another reason why he's key.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Thanks.
That's good stuff. All right, let's talk about the Dodgers quick. So my thing with the Dodgers is that, again, we talked about the pitching not being good. I think their pitching is very tired. Not so much in the innings totals, because if you try to check me, you're going to be like, well, they haven't thrown a lot of innings this season. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the amount of innings they've been pitching down the stretch and how much they've been used in the playoffs. Their starters are exhausted. And this team is a little bit streaky. So what happened is they had 33 straight scoreless innings between the Padres and the Mets. And then they got blown out the very next game. The team needs to have consistent pitching. If they cannot be streaky and they play consistent baseball, kind of like how the Yankees played their series, again, against an easier opponent. I'm not saying it. The Mets were a harder opponent than the Guardians. They just were. I think I think the Dodgers can win this in 6 games. And just for good measure, if you want my prediction, I say Dodgers in 6.
So my key for the Dodgers is their superstars need to act like superstars. They can't have Tommy Edman leading this team. He was the NLCS MVP. They need to get Ohtani-like production out of Ohtani, Betts-like production out of Betts. Will Smith was considered the best catcher in baseball. Through the playoffs, he's batting 158, slugging 316. Ohtani is slugging 500, OPS under 1. So they have to rely on Betts, Ohtani, and Freddie Freeman in order to win, because I think the Yankees do a very good job at neutralizing big threats. The Yankees do a very good job at neutralizing the threats that are supposed to be neutralized, and a very bad job of star players. Right? Look at the Cleveland series. The best players in that Cleveland series were their best players.
Yes.
Steven Kwan was on base it felt like every at bat. Jose Ramirez was killing the ball. The Nailers, both of them, were killing the ball. But it's like these who is John Kenzie Noel? Who is this? Who's this guy? Like those are the players that usually shut down, and they let the stars play. So the stars have to come out.
Yes. Nick, the Dodgers.
My key for the Dodgers is Mookie Betts, and I'm going to tell you why.
That's a good one.
Because I'm not worried about Shohei, but Mookie had a great series against the Mets, and he's a big reason why. I think in that last game, or one of the later games of the series, Shohei had he got walked 4 times. He got home all 4 times. Why? Because Mookie Betts is right behind him, getting him home almost every time.
It's nice to hit behind Shohei.
Exactly.
It's nice to hit behind Judge too. It's exactly why, these guys are playing as well as they're playing.
Yeah. Very good, Nick. I think we should go right into Grammy's Grinders of the Week.
Let's keep rolling.
It's a beautiful time to do it. And keeping in baseball, for me at least, my Grammy's Grinder of the Week is Luke Weaver. And
Dreamweaver.
Yes.
I believe you can get me through the 9th. Thank you.
Very good, Anthony. Luke Weaver finished 3 of the 4 Yankee wins as pitcher, recording a save in 2 of them and bouncing back from the blown save with a huge ALCS clinching performance in the 9th in Game 5. Luke Weaver's my Grammy's Grinder of the Week. That's all I need to say. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, boy, do I love watching this guy pitch.
Every time he hits the mound, I text Chris something very specific, and it's great. Every single
my
time.
God. That stays in the phone. All right, go ahead, Nikki. Anthony, somebody.
You looked like you were ready.
Okay.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Mine is yours baseball?
No.
Okay. Mine is we're moving to the NFL. Surprisingly, I watched every second of the Panthers' loss to the Washington Commanders.
I'm sorry.
My Grammy's Grinder of the Week is quarterback Marcus Mariota. Why is it Marcus Mariota?
Because he played a game?
Because against the Panthers, backup quarterback Marcus Mariota went 18 for 23, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran for 34 yards on 11 rushes.
And he also died on the field this year, basically.
Marcus Mariota had a quarterback rating of 132.8 against the Panthers. So, again, if you're playing fantasy football, any quarterback matching up against the Panthers, just start them. These boys, I don't think anybody's healthy. They posted on their Instagram, and they're like, guess who's back? And it was just Adam Thielen, Jordan Fuller, and DJ Wanham. Like, that's going to change anything. My Grammy's Grinder, Marcus Mariota.
Good pick, Ann.
So sorry.
I like that.
Go ahead, Nick.
My Grammy's Grinder is Cartavius Bigsby, all better known as Tank Bigsby, RB2 of the Jacksonville Jaguars, but has had a fantastic year. Might be looking at an RB1 spot soon on the Jaguars. On October 6th, he had a shoulder injury and started off on kick return before Etienne also got a shoulder injury, and he stepped in, had a 100-plus yard performance with 2 touchdowns, and then followed it up 2 weeks later with another almost 200-yard performance with 2 touchdowns. He's a very religious guy. His Instagram posts all have religious Bible quotes in there. He's a grinder to me. He's grinded his spot on the team. He's earning his spot only in his 2nd year, and I'm proud of him.
Very
Tank
good.
Bigsby.
It's a good one.
Very
It's a
good.
one.
Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to Sports and Spaghetti. Follow us on YouTube and listen to Sabrina. Thank you. Thank you, Sabrina. When Harding can talk, we'll get him on there. Follow us on Instagram at Sports and Spaghetti Pod and on TikTok at Sports and Spag Pod. And again, thank you. I hope you enjoyed our New York episode. Anthony, take us home.
That's Nikki. That's Chris. I'm Ant. That is Halal Style Street Cart Chicken. As always, take care of your loved ones. Buy food from a strange man in the cart outside.
Oh, boy.
And as always, stay full.